Hello my friends, in today's video we will take a look at MacBook Air M2. As you probably know by now, the latest MacBook Air is a great computer for usual tasks such as web browsing, watching movies or for office work. But what about more difficult tasks such as video editing or working with large RAW files? In this video we will try to find out where are the limits of the MacBook Air M2 and whether it can work as a computer for content creators. The configuration that I chose is Midnight Color, 10-core GPU, 8GB of RAM and 512GB SSD, so the best spec that you can get without custom order. I think that this is also the highest configuration that makes sense. 16GB of RAM or 1TB storage would be nice, but the price would be too close to 14-inch MacBook Pro. Midnight Blue is probably one of my top 3 Apple colors ever, so I didn't even think about not choosing this color. I actually bought Midnight Blue Apple Watch 7 series instead of stainless steel because I really like this color. Midnight is a very fitting name. It is very dark blue with a little bit of gray. Some say that it gets dirty very easily and that it is a fingerprint magnet. There definitely is some truth to that, but I don't think that it is dramatic at all. This is also the first major redesign of MacBook Air, basically in 10 years. I generally like flat edge design, it is very minimalistic and clean look. As expected, the build quality is as good as it gets. Everything is super solid, smooth and perfectly machined. And as you can see, you can still open it with one finger. The portability has always been one of the key aspects of the MacBook Air, so the thickness of 1.13 cm and 1.24 kg weight might not be that surprising. More surprising is the size to performance ratio, but we will get to that later. It fits perfectly into my 10-liter PGYTECH OneGo bag and my 15-liter Peak Design Everyday Backpack zip. This one is also midnight blue, so it matches the MacBook very well. Despite the size, Apple still managed to make the screen a little bit larger, so now it is a 13.6-inch display. It is not a mini LED screen like on the latest MacBook Pros, but for all intended purposes this is an excellent display. The resolution is 2560 by 1664, which translates to 224 pixels per inch, which is more than enough for a laptop. The brightness goes up to 500 nits, which is completely fine by me. Air M2 can play HDR files including Dolby Vision, but it is not an XDR display, so the Dolby Vision content won't be quite as dramatic. Other than that, the colors are very accurate out of the box. I'm not sure whether P3 white color means full P3, but I am quite sure that the target audience won't be disappointed by this screen. Regarding the notch, that is probably individual, I personally don't mind it at all, but I usually don't have a lot of stuff in the menu bar. I may even like it as a design feature. The keys have sufficient travel and pretty crisp action. No complaints. There is obviously no touch bar, which is what I prefer, and the Touch ID on MacBook Air M2 is one of the best fingerprint readers that I have ever used. MacBook trackpads are taken for granted after so many years, but I would still like to take a moment and appreciate this trackpad because it is great in every aspect. Another very welcome upgrade of the Air M2 is the Magsafe. That may be very important for content creators because it lets you charge the MacBook whilst you are transferring files from an SD card to an external SSD. So how about the performance, efficiency and everything related to that? First of all, usual tasks such as web browsing, watching 4K movies, working with documents and so on are no challenge at all. I have tried some silly scenarios such as playing 8 4K YouTube videos in separate tabs and it manages that with no issues whatsoever. Since this is a channel for photographers and filmmakers, let's move on to the photo editing. I have been using Air M2 as my main productivity computer for about 2 weeks. Editing RAWs in Lightroom is a very easy task for the M2 SoC. I went straight to 100 megapixel RAWs from Fujifilm GFX 100S. These are quite huge 200 megabyte files, but they didn't slow down the editing process at all. Exporting one full-size 100 megapixel image takes 11 seconds, 61 megapixel A7R4 image takes about 6 seconds, and 24 megapixel A7 III image takes about 1.5 seconds. Those are fantastic results, so I guess that the full metal support works as advertised. My favorite raw developing software, Luminar AI, is a little bit more power hungry. Loading a very large 61 megapixel file takes a couple of seconds, but after that everything works great. That includes AI features such as Enhance or Structure, which render the preview with no delay at all. Export times are also very solid. 61 megapixel image with 3 AI adjustments takes about 27 seconds, which is not bad at all. I will make a separate video about Luminar AI and Luminar Neo on Air M2 later on. Also worth mentioning is that there is no throttling during long raw editing sessions, and the temperatures during photo editing never rose above the room temperature. The bottom line is that you can use the MacBook Air M2 for any kind of photo editing. Regarding the video editing, I still use Premiere Pro, which is the less efficient option in comparison to the Final Cut, so consider it a bit of a stress test. I have edited my Insta360 One RS 1-inch 360 edition review on this MacBook Air, and the experience was very similar to using my main computer with Ryzen 5700X, RTX 3080 and 64GB of RAM. This project is mostly H.264 4K files, which are relatively easy task. The timeline playback is 100% smooth, there are no dropped frames or other complications. This is in my opinion pretty representative of average content creators' projects, and I would say that this particular configuration is usable as a video editing machine for medium workloads. Air M2 in this configuration exported this 10 minutes and 50 seconds long video in 4K 25p, 80 megabits per second, VBR1 pass in 8 minutes and 2 seconds. For reference, my main editing computer did it in 4 minutes and 35 seconds. That is in my opinion a very acceptable exporting time. I could easily live with that. So where are the limits? A big surprise is this 6.2K H.265 720 megabits per second long GOP file. This is a very nasty codec, one of the worst case scenarios. Timeline playback at half resolution is surprisingly smooth. If you have a lot of these files on your timeline, there will be a noticeable lag while scrubbing, but it is definitely possible to work with it. This is a 4.3K ProRes RAW file from Sony a7S III. There definitely are dropped frames and the timeline playback isn't the smoothest, but it can get the job done. I wouldn't buy Air M2 for extensive RAW video editing, but for occasional ProRes RAW editing it is actually usable. So the way that I see it, the limit is big and long projects containing nasty video files such as high bitrate H.265 long GOP. It will still get the job done, but the timeline lag will get annoying after some time. I didn't expect that at all, so big thumbs up. One thing that I have to mention is that I have conducted these tests using internal SSD for raw photo editing, and I have used Samsung 970 Pro SSD connected through Orico TB32S Thunderbolt dock/SSD enclosure for video editing. That has probably helped this MacBook compensate for having only 8GB of RAM. If I would be using slower storage, such as spinning hard drive, the experience might have been different. That is something that I will look into in upcoming weeks. I will also make a video about my MacBook Air M2 workstation setup, including this Orico TB32S dock. The battery life is unbelievably good. For example, exporting that testing video took 1% of the battery. Watching 1 hour of a movie through a streaming platform using Wi-Fi takes 5% of the battery. 15 hours of wireless web browsing is actually more than realistic. Huge thumbs up for the battery life, it is phenomenal. One more thing that I have to mention is that there is no fan in the MacBook Air M2, so it does everything that I have described in a complete silence. The bottom of the computer gets warm during the video exporting, but it is not dramatic. Synthetic tests suggest that there is some power throttling to prevent overheating, but I haven't noticed that in real-world scenarios at all. All configurations except the lowest one come with this new 35W dual USB-C charger, and I really like it. 35 watts is far from the maximal charging power of the MacBook Air M2, but I prefer slower charging to preserve the battery. This is a dual charger, so we can use it to charge your MacBook and iPhone at the same time, for example. You will also get braided Magsafe to USB-C cable in matching midnight color, which is a very nice touch from Apple. To sum up, MacBook Air M2 may be designed to fulfill the requirements of average users, but it can go much further. As expected, it retains all of the strengths of the MacBook Air series, such as the portability, build quality, battery life, display quality, excellent trackpad, and so on. I think that I can safely say that it is powerful enough to be a main computer for a lot of content creators. I wouldn't recommend it for editing video day in and day out, but for less demanding codecs, it is perfectly fine. Unfortunately, the price reflects that. It is significantly more expensive than the Air M1. That brings me to my basically only complaint about the Air M2, and that is 8GB of RAM in non-custom configurations. I think that 16GB should have been the base, which would make the Air M2 a very good value. With 8GB of RAM, it is still a great machine with plenty of power and a huge strength, so I can still highly recommend it even at that price. So that's it for this video, thank you for watching, I hope that you liked this video and that you have found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.